Date June 24th, 1982. 263 people unaware of everything. Everything was ready, and there was no problem to fly from London to Auckland, New Zealand on a British Airways model plane. But unknown to anyone, a volcanic eruption was waiting for them. If you are ready, we are starting. All you have to do is like the video and subscribe as you start the story. The protagonists of this flight were Captain Eric Moody, 41 years old, Vice Captain Roger Greaves, 32, and Flight Engineer Barry Freeman, 40. The first 2 hours of the flight went perfectly and smoothly. Passengers were served, pilots checked the fuel and other technical conditions of the aircraft. While everything was going well, the captain got up from her seat and went inside to go to the toilet. But what she saw was a plane full of smoke. The captain thought he could smoke because smoking was not forbidden on the plane. But it was not cigarette smoke, and he thought there might be a fire. But at that moment, the vice captain called the captain to return to the cockpit. When the captain returned to his seat, what he saw was a bright particle of air. Passengers could see this through the windows. At first, the captains dismissed it and thought it could be St. Elmo's, just an electrical weather phenomenon. But for that to happen, they had to be in a stormy cloud, and when they checked, the weather was clear. They were now in a cloud of ash coming out of the volcano. This glow was created by the combination of ash and kinetic energy. While the captains were trying to figure out what happened, the co-pilot saw that the fourth engine was on fire and told his captain to check the other engines on his side. When the captains checked, the first engine was on fire. The smoke was getting thicker and thicker, and the air inside the plane was running out. The captain told the passengers to stay calm and that they could solve the situation. The captain first completely shut down the fourth engine, which caught fire as a precaution. But unexpectedly, the other engines also started to shut down. Now they had to glide with all the engines off. The pilots could not figure out why the intact engines had stalled and started sending emergency calls to the tower. But this call could not reach the tower clearly because of the ash cloud. The pilots and passengers were lucky that the call did not reach the tower, but another plane in the vicinity intermediated the situation to the tower and returned to avoid the same situation. Now everything was in the hands of the pilots, and they started to glide the plane without an engine. At the same time, the pilots began to try to restart the engines, and at the same time, they began to make checks to land the plane at a nearby airport or on the water. The pilots did everything they knew how to do, but they didn't stop trying. The captain started to descend the plane rapidly because oxygen was essential, and there was hope that the engines would start. Just as the plane was about to land in the ocean, the ash cloud the plane was in suddenly disappeared, and the engines started to work one by one. As soon as the engine started, the captain started to take off again, but the ash cloud had started to shine brightly again. The pilot, realizing that this altitude was damaging, started to descend again, and they managed to get out of the ash cloud again. Then they were preparing to land directly at the nearby airport, but the dust cloud almost completely covered the windshield of the plane, and nothing could be seen. The next thing they realized was that there was only 5 centimeters of visibility on the glass. In order to land the plane through this small gap, the captain asked the co-pilot to direct him. Although many indicators were malfunctioning, the captain, together with the co-pilot, successfully landed the aircraft on the runway. As soon as the plane landed, everyone breathed a sigh of relief, and when they got off the plane, they were amazed to see the final state of the plane. Passengers and pilots learned about this situation with subsequent statements, and pilots and other employees were given many awards.